There's a new Shelby in town for 68, and this one, well, it's king of the road. A lot happened to Shelby Mustangs in 1968, with perhaps the biggest change being Ford moving production in-house to Michigan from Southern California and taking the reins away from Shelby American. Did this mean that the 68 Shelby was any less of a car? Well, not hardly. In fact, in many ways, they were more of a car than Shelby ever built. First off, mid-year 1968 saw the debut of the new 428 Cobra Jet V8 engine, a step up from the previous 428 Police Interceptor engine. Cobra Jet-equipped GT500s became Cobra Jet GT500KRs, which stood for King of the Road. Shelby advertisements actually called this the Shelby Cobra GT500KR, and they stated that the performance upgrades were built in and not just tacked on. Overall, there was over 30 performance and power enhancements made to one of these Shelbys over a regular Mustang. The 68 Shelby GT500KR was also a lot of car from a feature standpoint as well. No longer were Shelby GTs stripped-down racers, as this one was fitted with all kinds of driver amenities. Even though the car evolved from its bare-bones 65 cousin, the public responded well and sales were strong. After all, power steering, power brakes, air conditioning, and a comfortable cabin made the cars even more enticing to drive, and that's what they were built for. The heart of this stunning white 1968 Shelby GT500KR is the new Ford 428 FE Series Cobra Jet V8 engine. The 428 CJ relies on a stronger block and crank for a nearly bulletproof bottom end, and a long stroke design generates tons of torque at low RPM. The medium riser intake manifold allowed more air to be pulled through the 4-barrel carb into the oversized valved heads, which were worked with a high-lift hydraulic camshaft and 1.7-to-1 rocker arms. This grunt monster makes lots of power without the need to go to stratospheric RPM, resulting in an engine that stayed together pass after pass on the drag strip. They claimed 335 horsepower and 445 pound-feet of torque, with 0 to 60 times in the 6.5-second range, with the quarter-mile winging by in 14.8 seconds. But the GT500KR was far too sophisticated to spend all of its time at the drags. These cars were a marriage of performance-enhancing upgrades and driver features as well. This one is fully stocked with nearly everything a driver could want for an all-day jaunt. The 65 and 6 Shelby GT350 Mustangs were really kind of stripped-down race cars for the street, but by 68, you could get options in your Shelby like this King of the Road car. I mean, this one's even got air conditioning, and it's a very comfortable car, and it's cool because it's like a time machine. It only shows 6,800 miles on the odometer, and that's a legit number. The clock is still working, and when you move the selectors for the air conditioning, you can hear the vacuum motor still moving in the dashboard, so none of that stuff dried up. Even though it's from 68, it's like a brand new car. They called the KR the King of the Road, and for good reason. A C6 automatic transmission is easy to drive, and the 350-to-1 rear gear provides a good compromise of quickness and highway cruising. Firm suspension handled the twisties with more authority than the standard Mustang, and upgraded brakes quickly brought the show to a close. We really dig the 10-spoke Shelby wheels wrapped in a set of original Goodyear Blue Streak tires with raised white letters. Shelbys have always had distinctive looks, with extensive use of special fiberglass parts to elevate the style over a regular Mustang. Out back, the deck and quarter panels swoop upward, and the silver rear tail panel is home to the Thunderbird sequential taillights. Quad exhaust tips peek out through the lower valance, and the EAT and vintage dash stickers suggest this car spent some time in Tanzania, but it was sold new in California. The quarter panels are opened wide with upper and lower air intakes to cool the rear brakes and also for a cool appearance. And traditional blue Shelby stripes were revised a bit with a narrower font on the lettering to fit all the new digits within the fender stripe. And a fiberglass hood grabs the air with forward-facing scoops and releases heat with topside vents. Headlights peer out from revised headlight buckets, and the expanded grille opening gulps air to feed and cool the 428 lurking behind. Cougar fog lights pierce the darkness during late-night runs. One of the big mysteries on this car is the odometer reading. It's hard to imagine that this outstanding road car, built nearly a half-century ago, has only 2 oil changes worth of miles on it. I think it would have only taken me a couple of days to rack up the 6,800 and change worth of miles on this car. But then again, I probably would have driven it into the ground and it wouldn't be here today for us to groove on. Certainly most KRs were driven a lot, but it's cool to see the amazing time capsules like this one in the Brothers collection to get a perspective on what these cars looked like when they were new. Thanks for watching this episode of Muscle Car of the Week. I'm going to do what this car was meant to do and take it for a little spin. Hopefully they invite me back next week to do it again. In the meantime, check the website for new episodes. See you next time.